Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're here. We're here. Give thanks for life. We're back for another two-man show. Janik, your host, with
Hello.
Mar. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Happy to be here. It feels like a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a good week and something. Yesterday, when was it, Mar? Friday night. I was supposed to have Santos, but he had the internet connection problem, so Santos wasn't able to be on the show. That's why some people might have wondered. I was waiting for an hour myself beside the computer and chatting with people on the. I discovered an hour after how the chat worked on the side, so I started talking to people on the side. But yeah. No,
Okay.
Santos will be back eventually, sometime probably in the beginning of May or something.
Okay, well, we can't wait, but at least today we
Yeah.
have Euro.
Today,
Euro is
yeah.
coming up from Argentina. This guy is a bombshell of information. The way he can research everything, the way he researched flat Earth. And
Yeah.
is that agreeable with you that we go over some of the, the Masonic things and see
But
since when they started or what?
this is what I would like Yehu to go over because it's very easy to say flattered, but there's a mechanism of control of the mind behind all this that we have to expose those Babylonian people, that dirty Babylon that I call it, that we have to expose, and it's very important to shed some light on the darkness because if we ever want to get out this darkness, it's with light. So shine light, shine light, shine your light. That's what matters. So who's going to be here soon with us? Yeah, Mar, to
Yeah,
maybe
I
shed.
received a book. It's called The Controversy of Zion. And that is very, very amazing that most people have no idea what is the difference between Zionism and anti-Semitism. Semitism.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism is like you being against people. That's not it. But Zionism is the controlling power that is controlling our world. But I never understand what's the difference between the Zionists, the Jesuits, the Vatican, and now the lords or the something of Mata. I think I would like him to talk about. And then in this book that I got, it's called The Controversy of Zion. It was saying that this whole thing started in 485 BC before Christ. So let's
Oh,
talk to Errol about it.
yeah. The hi, Yehu, how are you? Is he there? I see him, but
He will come on, I think,
yeah.
at the right
No,
time.
they have started their plot, their thing a long time ago. It's not something that happened 400 years ago in a slavery plantation that they started brainwashing us. It started a long time before that. Look, for 2,000 years, there's been more than 2,000 years. All kinds of people came along the time to try to show us the way, show us the light, and still we still can't see. We still can't see. But now we're starting to really see the light as a collective consciousness, which is giving us a lot of hope for the future. It's giving me a better hope for tomorrow. The more people that see the light, that want to see the light, because also you have to see the light, like we said, you have to. In that old thing, you have to really, when you come in contact with all that truth, with the truth about the world, because it's not just a flat Earth. There's other truths that we've been like. We can't forget vaccination, chemtrails, GMOs. Like there's all kinds of stuff that they poison us on every shelf, every corner, in the sky, everywhere. So we can't forget about all
Well,
those
it's
things. And
yeah, how much we have given up our powers as God beings living in human bodies, and how much we have forgotten that we have a choice and um, we are not the slaves to these few psychopaths that are running our world. And it's like, why is it that humanity has given the earth into the hands of Satan? And what is Satan? Satan is humanity falling off from its God self, creating goodness. That's all it is. And it's within all of us. All of us have hatred in us and fear in us. And this is time for us to start reducing all that and really shine our God light upon this life and really hope we can change it.
yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way we're gonna overcome the devil forces and the Satan forces is with light, because we all have that little light inside of us. Some of us has just forgot to shine it. Some of us shine it bright. So some of us are shining too bright sometimes. So, but it's okay.
No,
Me,
no, it's there is no too bright. Let's shine, shine, shine. Is Iru on? Iru?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here, but
good.
I don't know how activate the camera because it's the icon up here in the toolbar, but I don't know why it's detect my computer detect my iLook 300, but for
It's
some
okay.
reason I gonna try. Give me 2 minutes more. If not,
Wait,
I
Iru, you can do all this research and show your computer to us
yes.
and everything, but you cannot. Come on, that's okay.
Okay, okay. I see that like it's black screen, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah, and there is a picture on your computer, the hands and the tree on in it. That's all it shows.
Okay, okay. I gonna give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was listen about something like shining, something like that.
Yeah, no, I was saying, Iru, that what I would like you to do this afternoon for us is really because you're a big researcher. Like we all have our things. I said it many times. Me, it's motivation, inspiration. You research a lot, and you have come to find out a lot of stuff, and that's what I want you to share with us this afternoon. For yeah, it's all this afternoon. It's morning for Mar, but this afternoon for me and Iru. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can still say it. But what I want is, this flat Earth, all control mechanism behind all this to enslave us in the mind comes from somewhere. So it comes from most of it secret societies and people that are working behind the curtain, the Jesuit, the Black Pope, and all those people. So I would like you to maybe educate us a little bit more on that and put some light
Yes.
in the darkness.
Okay. Yes. Yes. That is something because well, I don't know why I can really. I have my webcam turning on, but I don't know why it doesn't. It's
Okay, that's
automatic. It's automatically right. If the camera is connected,
Yeah.
the hangout it's detected and turning on.
and you just have to push on the camera.
Yeah, but
It doesn't. You know what? It's okay. Let's just go for it. I
okay.
had asked you a question about what is the difference between the Jesuits, the Masons, and the Zionists, and what is the controversy of Zion and the Lords of Malta. I mean, I don't know. When we say that the astronauts are all Masonic and the astronauts were also Jesuit, what is the difference between that and the Jew world order, for example? And
Yeah.
it's like I'm really confused.
But
Okay.
that's
Yes.
very good. You said it all there. So
Okay.
that's very good.
I think there is no difference. I think there is all shit.
Yes.
We can start for that point. Then
Yeah.
they smell a little different maybe, but it's the same shit for everything.
Well,
Uh,
I'm reading in the controversy of Zion that they started this 485 BC, before Christ. They started the manipulation of the mind on Earth. But then what is the difference between Vatican and I mean, okay, go for it.
okay, I wanna leave clear that these are only my conclusions because I have been making some research and things like that, but maybe it's not the correct answer. Okay. That
Well,
because it's for me it's the same for you. I mean it's so huge this manipulation that it's really difficult to say okay these are this kind of persons and these other are in the up in the line because the Jesuit is under the Zionist or the Zionist is under the Jesuit. I think at that level they are all the same and play like a match, you know. It's like say okay this time I'm going to be up and then the Jesuit did this okay I going down so you go up and it's like a theater. you know.
Yeah, that's what I also noticed that like even with the flat earth and also all the aerospace organizations of all
Yes.
the world, they are even though they look like this country is fighting against that other country, it's actually on the top all the countries, as Eric Dubay says, they're all the same. They're all
Yes.
under the same control.
Yes. The thing here is they this kind of organizations of persons, they live like kings, so for they it's not problem to be, you know, in the first line of of the news for 10 years and then come other, because they are living great. So it's like it's no problem for them to go up or go down, because if they go down, we're down. They go just they going to be the same person, they going to have the same money, they going to have the same power. It's like it's all the same. There is no up and down at that levels. For me, that is my conclusion. But why is my conclusion that? Because I have these slides make in Spanish, because I doesn't have the time to translate. But this part here is talking about by the fruit you shall know. I think is
Oh yeah.
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 Okay.
Judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not by the fruit that it talks about.
Yes. So that's for me. It's a pointing start to say, okay, the Jesuit and the Israelitas. I don't I Because they make like layers, so you can never reach the highest truth. You know, for me, the Masons, the Illuminati, the Catholics, the Rosicrucians, they are like all kind of difference, but they are all inside the Vatican, and they are all the same, the same order. Okay, but the Jesuit, the word Jesuit, this is my interpretation. Okay, um,
Before
when you,
you go on, I just wanted everyone to know that Iru is from Argentina, and him and a great, awesome friend, another friend, Lucas from Argentina. They are in a peace movement there, and they are enlightening a lot of people in South and Central America. So thank you so much, Iru, for all your information, and your English is actually very good.
okay, thank you,
Okay.
and thank you for all the American and English community and Spanish community, Spanish not from Argentina, Spanish for Spain,
Yeah.
because I entered to this kind of movement because I learned for the channels of American people like you, Mar, like Sherison. I don't know how is the pronounced name, Mark Sargent, and all the kind of stuff
Okay.
you really
Beautiful.
know. So thank you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you too. Okay, get back here.
Yes.
I use this kind of, because when you say for the by the fruit you shall know, that is not just a word. It's something like you can use, you know, like in energetic way. So when you start to analyze what are they fruit, you are start to see this kind of thing. For example, the Catholic religion, the Christian religion, like everybody knows in this kind of movement, is a copy, is a clone of Egyptian religion. I
The
don't
of the
know.
Egyptian. Yeah.
I don't know if they are the same Egyptian that they change the skin, or there are people that stole that knowledge from the Egyptian. Okay, because we here we must be understand that this humanity start from 12,000 years ago. Okay, approximately, because that was the big flow. I don't know how is the name of the diluvio, the big
Deluge.
rain.
Deluge.
Okay,
How do you say?
that
Flood. Flood.
flood,
Flood, the big
the big flood,
flood.
the big
Yeah.
flood. Okay, because that was like the last reset for the this plane. dimensional plane or whatever you want to call it. So from that point, in fact, maybe I'm open a little the path, but then you're going to converge in one point, all right? Because that kind of history, we must be associated. That is my perception, okay? But when you use the logo of the ONU in one side, and you put, for example,
That was the logo of UN. Yes.
yes, the UN, and you put it beside a concept art of Atlantida,
Oh
for
wow.
example, you have the same kind of rings, okay, and you have the same kind of history, because for us, for the normal people, Atlantis was not a city, was a civilization, okay, that live underwater, but live underwater with sun, with moon, with covered by a dome, with water above, right?
Yes.
So when you start to think, you think that Atlantida maybe is a, you know, is a history, is something like just pure imagination. But all the cosmology for us telling us that there is a sea or waters above, right? So it's little, for me, this kind of concept is the water, you know, above the big sky and the dome covering and the stars. It's like talking about this kind of concept, just a concept, okay? So that big flow, 12,000 years ago, it's like talking about us. It's another history. You have the Hebrew history, you have the Christian, you have the Navajo, you have the Maya, the Aztecs, etc., and also maybe Atlantida. It's entered in this kind of history, right? So
And also, Evu, I think it's all related to the human body, not only to the, because they want us to look a lot outside of ourselves for God, for
yes,
all kinds of stuff, but it's also all related to the human body. Even Atlantis, I have read some stuff on that.
yeah.
But
So
I don't understand it. So you're saying that the UN, the secret societies, who has been control consciousness of the people on Earth, has known the Egyptian phenomenon, and they not only know about the flat Earth and also maybe waters up there, because we don't really know, right? It could be a concept. But then how are you connecting this together? That Atlantis and now is the same?
because um, this is just a cartoon, okay? But it's a cartoon based on some kind of reality. This kind of concept, everybody knows what is this chapter about. But this kind of concept, because
Yes.
the big flow was a reality. That
Yeah.
is not a history, okay? It's in all religions, storytellers, that there was a flow coming down to the earth and uh, you know, kill every animal, and the ark of Noah. I don't know what how pronounce, but
L'Arche
that
de
kind of,
Noé, Ark of Noah, that's it.
yeah. So that it's like some reset system that this world have, you know, the water that come from the sky, all
Okay,
right?
so what are you saying? The
What
reset
I'm
is
saying
going to
is,
happen again?
what I'm saying is, the Atlantida could be us right now, okay, or could be some civilization at 12,000 years ago. But
Okay.
that kind of knowledge, there is no doubt about it. It's reflected in the Egyptian civilization, because have learned, like, we come from monkey, and then pyramids all the world, with extremely high technology to build up. Okay, so that is impossible. So that knowledge comes from other civilizations, okay, or from another species, or whatever you wanna talk, whatever the name you wanna put it.
Like,
But
but like Iru, like Santos said during the last hangout, all those things, all the literature we have, all the knowledge we have, cannot come from those controllers of reality that we have. It comes from higher power, higher divine power than. It's
yeah,
like I don't believe they could invent the English language, the French, and all the Latin language, and that comes from higher power for sure. But where? That's nobody knows.
yes, that okay. But I want to try to get to that
Yeah.
answer. So we have that kind of situation here with when we had all these kind of. Give me a second. I'm gonna close my door. In second.
So I wonder if the Egyptian society was as satanic as a Christian society on the left, as we see. You know, I wonder if they were using, were they living in light or they were still in darkness?
The illusion is so deep, and that's what that. It's very, very hard to point, oh, they control our reality, or they control our reality, or because they're like Iru said, it's all the same shit. They just have different smell. They just have different smell, but it's all the same shit. But to say, oh, it's the Mason, or it's this, or it's the Jesuit, or it's the Pope, or it's the Bush family, it's this. It's so woven tight together that it's so hard to point.
But then my concern is that how come they're so organized and they have been taking this on for so many eons, whereas the conscious people of the world are not even united or organized, even when it comes to flat earth. You know, it's like we have the separation between us, and I mean, we are judging each other. It's like the same slave mentality penetrates the entire human course. So how is it that we are going to rid ourselves from this finally? You know, okay, the information is great, and then go for it.
Okay, so about what they are talking about, you know, maybe this. Okay, this is all suppositions because nobody have the real truth. But that kind of reset that happened for the Maya people is like the fourth reset. It's not the first, the diluvian. Okay, so so maybe when the majority of populations reach a certain point of you know, awakeness, maybe they reset.
The reset, yeah, the
Reset.
consciousness, the 100 monkey phenomenon.
Yeah. So coming back here, so in you know, Atlantida.
Okay, so you mean that now we're gone so far, so bad, so out of touch with what it is to be human that there's going to be a reset coming soon?
I don't know if it's gonna be the fifth reset, but
okay,
who knows? Okay,
that's it.
Okay, so the point here is coming from Atlantida or coming from Egyptians, because I see a lot of documentary that they talk about that the Egyptians are the, you know, the people coming next to Atlantida. All the knowledge come from Atlantida. Okay? Atlantis, sorry, from Atlantis. So that is the reason that the Egyptian civilization has all that kind of technology. So the thing here is we have the Egyptian, that is completely true. Is you know, you can go to Egypt.
You can go to Egypt and notice it. It's true. It's there.
Yeah, but we have Christian people that invoke Egyptian religion, and also we have, sorry, I think is here, and also we have the Israel people that also invoke. So these two cultures are getting the same knowledge, the same power to use as their own, you know,
empowerment. They're using these forces to rule the world.
Yeah, but they use that kind of knowledge because we can see in the inscription in this letter, because this is IHS, some people is gonna tell you that this means something about the heart of the humans, okay? I don't remember exactly what is this signification of this word, but this also refers to Horus and Set. So this is is, you know, is casualty? I don't think so. At this point, I don't think so, because these people has all the same rituals
Iris,
from Egyptian.
Horus, and Set.
Okay,
Yeah.
so were the Egyptians dark like they are, or are they just they took their symbols and empowerment to turn it into Satan, or what?
That is a good question. In all the things that I have written, it seems to refer at a kind of knowledge to, you know, to transcend the human experience. So it's not bad, that kind of knowledge, but it seems you must be, maybe it's a, you know, like say before, there are a lot of points that it's difficult to get the union of those points. But the thing here is, when the Romans came to Egypt and they, you know, destroyed all the Egyptian civilizations, these people are Romans, in, you know, quote unquote, okay?
Yeah.
But so they took that information. I don't. That is because I'm starting to say, I don't know if this kind of person are the same of the Egyptian with other skin, because the time get past and they need to, you know, be cool for those centuries. But they took the information about the Egyptian, and the Israelis take the same kind of information about the Egyptians. In fact, in the history, the Egyptians get slave of the Jewish people.
Yeah.
So that also could be that kind of thing, you know, because if you use the same fractal, because they say, okay, the Egyptians put us as a slave, but they also talk that the Nazis killed 6 million of people, and they also talk that they always are victims, and for you be a victim, you need to have, you know, a murder, someone who want to
Someone who wants to hurt you, someone who wants to
yeah.
perpetrate something against you if you
Well,
want to be a
it's
victim.
yeah, and it seems
Yeah.
that all the bloodshed and the bloodletting starts right from there, because they believe in bloodletting and sacrifice of humanity and animals, and then they injected that into all the religions. And I see that under that Israel and that white guy, ISIS. It's right, very clear that they have created the ISIS.
But it's like
Yeah.
the dollar sign. The dollar sign is the same thing. It has the same meaning. We every time we make checks or whatever, we write the dollar sign. You can tell us about it.
Yeah, yeah. So we have here the two, at least the two civilization that control all West. All right, because in the East we have another kind of culture, because we have the Japanese people, the Chinese people, and that is another culture. Maybe they are all by the same influence. All right, but here in the West, these two factions control everything: the Jesuit and the Israel and the Jewish people, Zionists, whatever you want to call it.
I know,
Now,
but what's the difference? Who created the Jewish people? How are they different from the
But
Egyptians or all that?
I
first,
have
first, I think the real Jewish are in Africa and not in Israel. And you can probably talk about it.
yeah, and about Africa, I know the same thing that maybe you know, because that is like when, you know, channels like History Channel tell us that the first man come from Africa. I don't know. The thing of Africa is because all the Egyptian culture was in Africa.
Yeah.
So they use that history to tell us that was the first man come from. But There is no. This is. If you think like the first men come from Africa, it's like you need to use the Darwin evolution in some terms. Okay,
That's true.
a
That's
little bit, a
true.
little bit. And if you think like that, you leave apart all this kind of magical thing because nobody knows where start the first man.
Exactly.
Nobody knows. So that could be a lot of speculation, but that is a fact that the pyramids are in Egyptian are true. So where they come from? Okay,
Okay,
that
so let's go back to what you were saying. There are two
okay,
people who are controlling the world. One of them
okay.
is Israelites, and the other one is the who?
Okay, I tell my what I have been read those few years ago. The Jesuit order, this Jesuit order at the beginning, they come from the Templars. I don't know if that is the word, like the
Yeah,
Templars.
Templars. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's the
maybe,
right word.
so maybe the first, faction is the Israel people.
Okay.
Because in history it's the Israel people. Maybe Moses, he was an Egyptian, and at the same time, by the history, I don't know if that guy exists really or it's just a concept, but Moses is who get free the Jewish people. All right.
Yeah, yeah, he freed the Jewish people, and then they
Okay.
turned against him, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. But Moses was an Egyptian, so maybe the
But
history what are telling us is that Moses, whatever if true or not, he took the knowledge of Egyptian for himself. He transmit to their people, to their family, quote unquote family, and with that knowledge they get free. And
I think
maybe
I think also Moses referred to the age of a Taurus more in a mythical way than a real guy that exists. I think it's more to represent the age of Taurus, and then Jesus, the age of
yes,
Pisces, and
yes.
so forth and so on. And you can go back in history and find a lot of things like that.
Yes. So that kind of culture, the Israel culture, was first than the Jewish. Why? Because the Jesuit order, these people are military people.
Yeah.
They are not religious people. Okay, this is like a cover. It's a suit. Okay.
Of
Uh,
course, they use their religions to kill each other.
yes. So the problem, I going to speak to make a short history, but the thing is like when the Vatican in the Middle Age, the Vatican has of course a lot of power, but they doesn't have the Jesuit order inside the Vatican in the Middle Age. They what they have was like a military. They need. I'm sorry. They need these people need like a military, arm, because they translate from one point to other, and in the Middle Age, that kind of, of trip was danger.
Is
It's
that why the Pope still have that Swiss army on his side today?
yeah,
The
yes,
white Pope, the one in the front?
yes, that it's exactly.
Okay.
So
Show us more pictures,
yeah,
Euro.
yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
I
Well,
want to go on an adventure.
okay, no, no, it's the beginning. Okay, I wanted to show you things like Copernico and things like that, but,
Yeah.
but the thing here is we need to understand this, where all this come from.
Yeah, we need
So
to understand the base to really match all the that. That's why I want you here and really put some light on that and to understand the whole thing. Yeah.
okay, so in a short mode, the thing is, the people from the church need to translate, okay, but was dangerous because in the Middle East you don't have phones, you don't have nothing of that to communicate, so they need like a guard, okay. So they start to use mercenary people, you know, that kind of bad people, quote unquote bad people, to make an army. Okay, but that kind of army was only just for when a pope or when a priest go from point A to point B, someone who, you know, take care about what inside the garage and things like that. But of course, these kind of people, that there are no, you know, a full people, they start to talk with the pope, with the priest, and so on, so on. So in some point they took a lot of information, and they get inside of the church. We can you know, talking about some concept, it's like they have access to the Vatican library, we can say like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. They have access to an enormous amount of knowledge that the general population, even at that time, didn't have access to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when they access to that kind of knowledge, um, there was a point where I don't know if it was the king Felipe, or I can't remember the name of the king, but in some period of the history, a king from France with the pope, they talk together and they say, okay, the Templars are getting, there are a lot right now, they are thousands, they have, you know, the history tell us that they invade the cheque, the payment, the paper to, I don't know which is the name in English. I wanted to write here. This kind of
Check.
you know,
Checks.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, because the Templars have they have a lot of power. They have guns, so they have the order, the temple, the order of the Templar. For get inside, you need to leave all your possessions to the order.
Yeah.
So they have, it's like Opus Dei, okay? So they have a lot. They was rich. They have a lot of money. So they are in position to give a paper, and then when you reach, I don't know, come to London, you go into a Templar place and give that paper, and they give the money. So for me it's difficult because I'm talking in English. Okay, I hope that you understand.
Okay, let's pass
You're
that.
very clear.
Okay, well, but let's
Okay,
go to the next point.
okay, but there is in history, that is the point when the Jesuits come with this kind of power. So for me, it's first the Israel, okay? The Templars get in by force because they make a extremely nice work, because they first go like, yeah, I take care of you. Then when they get organized, they say to the religious people and the king's people, okay, I want a little part of this cake now, because I have the power to kill you. Okay, so then you come the, you know, this kind of history when the Templar go to the Solomon temple, and then was like, you know, like the Vatican people get trade. I don't know.
And
They,
that's probably about the time when all the secret societies started. No, the
yes,
Templars.
yes. And for, you know, there is a lot of documentary talk about the Jesuits, how they come and blah 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 blah. But they enter in this kind of power from take care of the religion people. So it's the same concept. These people took the knowledge from the Egyptian, and these people took the knowledge from these people that take the knowledge of the Egyptian. So all these societies use what? The Egyptian knowledge. It doesn't matter if you are a Mason or Illuminati or a Zionist. They all use this, the
Yeah.
solar disk information.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the sun worship. And why
Yes.
are they worshiping the sun? Because it's the masculinity, right? As we talked
Yes.
about in the past.
Yes, yes, and you know it's something that you must have in mind, because the Egyptian people, they don't call the spherical disc sun, they call a disc.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that has a lot of this is another thing, because if the sun was, you know, a sphere, or they I think a civilization that can build that kind of pyramids, they really know if this is a sphere or if it's disc.
Oh, they
Okay,
know.
so
They know. Come on. Just to build a pyramid, look at the technology it took to build that. It's like, oh, they have to know secret knowledge for sure.
yes, yes,
And
so
also they build the pyramids right in the central mass of the earth that if it wasn't flat, how could you find the central mass of a ball, right?
right.
Okay.
No, no, and that I have a really nice documentary about the Egyptian civilization, and they have a lot of knowledge to transcend. Because when we are talking about this kind of concept, at the beginning, in my research, I think, okay, they maybe could be some, you know, reptilian shape there in the
Yeah.
in England or whatever, and you know they. But I think this is a concept, you know, because the energy that enter into the human body could be anything, okay? But for this kind of, you know, for this kind of plane, of these dimensional planes, is um, it's like the human body is the perfect vehicle to, you know, to interact. But the energy that enter inside the human body, that is another history. Okay.
Okay. That's like devil worship. Did it start in Egypt?
Yeah, I
Yes?
don't know, no, I don't know if the Egyptian people are a devil
Well, you
worship.
just showed us devil holding a child, and you're talking about the energy coming inside of a child. So,
Yes, but this concept is not from Egyptian. This is from Hebrew history.
okay, I see. That's it. Okay.
So so you can see.
Yeah, they injected the Satan into the
Yes.
Egyptian method. Okay.
Yes, when the people start to ask something like, okay, but how they do it, all right? O sea, so, I mean, in this time, in the present time, how they could be so powerful to, you know, fool all the people that we live in the globe. Well, they are not so many. They are a little bloodlines families, okay? Because we have the Rothschild, the Astor, the Disney, the Rockefeller, the DuPont, blah 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 blah. All these people have all the institutions, and the
Oh,
first
that's the gang. That's the gang, eh? They have gangs like the financial
Yeah.
gang, the religious gang, the
yeah.
Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer came on.
hi
Hi.
Jen.
Hi guys. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
So again,
Carry
no
on.
problem.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, and
So,
hello.
you're saying that all these countries that came under those few little ones are overruled by the Egyptian knowledge, and it doesn't take many of them to rule the whole world.
No, I mean yes, what you say, because we have these kind of families, at least for the most west part of the world, okay? Then you have this have first the secret society,
Yeah.
then the educational thing, for example, or the religious thing. In order for these families, it's most important, you know, have a secret society like P2 in Italy, the Opus Dei, the Rosicrucian, the Freemasonry, the Skull and Bones, the Bohemian Club, the Kings of Malta, all right? They are all come from those, you know, ages. Then, of course, you need money to get the soul of the people. And, of course, you have the institutional like Tavistock, you know, like Tavistock, like the Committee of 300, and this, because why you have this? Because it's like, okay, we pay the people that work inside here, but we mix the education with secrets education, and then we pass that to religious and to the regular people.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's why a lot of people don't understand that Vatican owns all the telescopes of the world, and it has trained more scientists than anyone else in the world, and that's why when they're standing up and protecting the scientists, they need to know where it's coming from.
exactly, exactly. In fact, the telescope, you can see only 2 kilometers with a telescope. It's
Yeah.
the mind that believe you are seeing thousands of years far away.
Yeah.
But if you take a telescope and you try to see, you know, the building in the next city, you almost see that for little. No, but it's the atmosphere. Yeah, but when I you know, when I see up in the sky, I see from the ground, so the atmosphere is also there. So why?
Yeah, it's only a facade. They're just showing that's like power. Some people ask me, have you ever gone to NASA and see how amazing they are? It's just a facade and an organization to show that we have the power and we rule the space. That's why.
Exactly. You know, for example, we have the telescope in Atacama, in Chile. All right. This is one of the best telescope in the world, right? But when you try to find, you know, for example, I put Saturn from when you try to reach find an image from those kind of big telescope are the same of Alex Caron telescope.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
same as Alex. It's the same as the Alex Carry On. That's true.
Yeah,
So
Death
what is
Valley.
that?
Yeah, Atacama Desert. You know, there is no. It's all in the mind. It's like use a GPS. You know, you think the GPS can triangulate, and no, it's the same. You know, there are all antennas.
They're
Okay.
all antennas, yeah, or underwater or underground, yes.
Yes, when you use a telescope, you use the same kind of the device that they have. In fact, they get free to public because they reach the knowledge that okay, the telescope is total bullshit. They know that. That is why they sell to us because there is
So
no telescope out there to. All the image of super high
that's
definitions
big.
come from Hubble. Okay,
That's big. So
Deep
we're
Six.
saying now, Mimi, I never, I thought, but I never looked at it that way. That those images would be the same as the one Alex Carrion keeps posting on Facebook all the time, and we all look at
Yeah.
it and we're like, but those telescopes now they would be what? Just a facade. Also, they're
Yeah, of
just big.
course.
They're just big, and that's all it is.
Well,
Yeah.
because also they cannot show any pictures to us of what they call the space or the universe. That's
Yeah.
not CGI. So if those telescopes were true, we wouldn't have all CGI pictures of that man-made world up there.
Oh my!
Of
So that's
course.
part. So the telescope are
Look
an
at it.
integral part of the illusion.
Yeah. Exactly. The telescope, the
Wow.
the telescope
It
is
was
the same. You know what? I don't know what is the name I'm going to show you. Pirates.
Pirates of Caribbean?
Yeah. This is a telescope.
Oh.
It's a little better than this. You know, it's the same.
oh my.
The telescope doesn't reach the firmament. I mean, you can look what is a few thousand kilometers up there, few hundred kilometers. With nobody knows that because nobody can go further away to 120 kilometers, 200 kilometers max.
Well, a lot
Nobody
of
goes
people ask
more.
me, some people ask me, they say, look, with my own telescope, I can see the rings of Saturn. So what are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah, they talking about this. I mean, they talking about, for example, the rings. They,
Yeah.
they they say about the rings, but the rings it's because they are pre-programmed from the school. But the rings
Yeah.
is this kind of ring, for example, the Lord of the Rings, right? Because Saturn is the last layer to transcend. Okay,
Yeah.
because when you're talking about, you know, have an energetic trouble, you know, when you get out of the body, all the cultures are telling us that the Saturn is the last layer to transcend the quote unquote dome. Okay, so that is how they make also the Saturn worship. All right,
That's what.
so
That's it. That's why they emphasize Saturn in the worship so much.
yeah. So exactly. So this kind of image, it's all CGI, all come from this lipstick, you know, in the space.
This lipstick.
Yeah, because it's that here is, you know, the red tip.
This lipstick. That's a good one.
Exactly. So they what they have is this. For example, Saturn, when you look it from the Earth, you look like this. You can even, you know, you can make a lot of speculation because you can see nothing here. It's this. Then by digital images processing, you can start to painting, and you know, they're okay. And that is when you think, okay, but this is an amateur telescope. Okay, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you this. For example, this is a software that the ESA and NASA use to create galaxies. Okay, this is run under Photoshop. You have here the logo. So they took an image because we must remember something. All the nebula that we see is this one, and always is the same.
It's always the same, eh?
It's the same. You go from Argentina or go in North America and you're gonna see this kind of thing. It's the same. There is no other nebula or other galaxy to see from here. It's just this, and they call galaxy, but who knows what is this? Nobody knows what is this
Maybe
really.
So
it's like we said in with Santos. Maybe it's some kind of scar in the celestial. I don't know if there's a dome or something more like a scar in the sky or something where all the souls come from, and who knows? You know,
Who knows? Exactly.
we're much more than what we've been told. So we all I know is I know nothing. So.
Exactly. You know, so they took a totally blurry image because you can take you can just take that kind of thing because nobody know what there is no Hubble, so they took a super blurry image and then post-processing, give a color, separate the channels, the RGB channels, they give a little bit of green, of blue, blah, 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 and then they come, you know, like a picture frame, and they say, okay, this mission took about $500 million. We have the Spiral Galaxy NGZ 3982, you know.
that's right. Well,
Exactly.
So
let's
these
can we ask can I ask something about that picture right there, the ISS.
yeah.
How do they say? I mean, all the scientific minds. If this is outside of the atmosphere of the Earth, what is it holding there? How come it's not getting lost in the vacuum of space?
That is a complicated question. You know
No,
what?
it's because we don't want to use our mind. Such a thing cannot be. So that's it. That's the answer.
Okay,
I think it's
maybe
just
I understand.
impossible.
Maybe I
That's it.
didn't understand the formulation of the question good, but yeah, I mean, from the observation, because I am a science,
Oh,
real science man, because I create computer graphic and things like that. So
yeah.
if I limit it to what I observe, nobody passed the 200 kilometers up there because there is like an electromagnetic field, okay, produced by the sun, by the, I don't know, but there is something up there that you can go up. But that kind of electromagnetic field also, you know, it's like make the illusion of low gravity, but it's all magnetic fields, okay? So up in the sky, where you really have is a lot of electromagnetic things going up there. So you know, you for example, I mean this, Alex Carrion explained very well, and a lot of people also. So we are living here, and up here is where all the electromagnetic energy produced, okay? And when the people say, okay, you know, when if we go into the ESS and we see the cables hook up the astronaut, you can see all that kind of shit about that, how they fake the gravity and things like that. But a lot of people get confused because they are get better than 69 when they, you know, try to make a fool with the moon landing. But right now they have a good technology. And when when I was more young, at the I can remember, about 22, 23 years old, in television I see a guy who is the, it's called the let me, because I think here is something important to those people that try to understand how they fake all that kind of, you know, zero gravity effects. And this is the Hutchinson effect. I don't know if you are know it, this kind of research.
How they stage all their fakery.
There
Yeah.
are so many videos on YouTube. You can easily learn if you wanted to. It's
Yes.
like this is right now available to humanity, and if you ignore it and you don't want to look at it, it's just a piece of the controlling.
But
Yes.
like I said, Hiru, pretty sure you can agree with me. What makes some people come out and talk about it, like you, me, Mar, Jennifer, whoever comes out talk about it, is I think we have nothing to lose, and a lot of people have a lot to lose their image, lose their fame, lose their protect their little image, their ego. Like me, I can care less of what people think about me, so that's why I'm out there speaking. You the same. But I think a lot of people are in the prison mind still, even being awake. Like, you know, if you know the truth and if you know all this and you still believe in the lies and you don't expose it, you're still a slave. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why there's not more people coming out a year after. Now it's been a year for me, a year for most of people on YouTube talking about flat Earth. Why is there not more people coming out? But I made the analysis in my head, and it's very clear. People have things to lose. They have their little ego to protect, and it's so bad. Like, man is sailing on their ego trip. But Bob said it, eh? Man is sailing on their ego trip, and it's so true. We're all on a freaking ego trip. Until we put away that false pride, that false ego state that we're in, come on,
Yeah.
we have to do something. So anyway, go ahead.
Yes.
That
I
was my
agree.
ranting part.
Totally. To leave this subject, because I want to get back to the, you know, to the culture occult, all that kind of things that we can maybe understand in the ESS about the gravity, you know, when they play with water or when they play with some kind of toy, something like that. In the 19th, I don't know how is the name of the people lived in Canada.
An academic person.
No, in Canada, in the country
Canadian.
Canada. Yeah.
Canadian.
In the 19th, these people, this guy, with electromagnetic and sound vibrations, he in his own house, they discover how localized vibrations to make levitation. Okay, in the 19th, you know, that kind of thing that the life has. The FBI, or I don't know who was the organization, they took all this kind of research, and they took from so this guy you never gonna see again, right? But this kind of knowledge, when I see this picture here, he with with vibrations he make levitate milk, all right? And this was the early 90s. And if you start to think, when the NASA show us all that kind of water plane full time, about 2012, 2013. So they have like 20 years to get involved in this kind of experimentations after they lie us with the ESS trickery things. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
it's also Photoshop now. They can
Yeah,
Photoshop all that in. It's all made up images.
yeah, but I telling you, because I come from the 3D world, and they have some kind of trickery with water that I like 3D artists. I wonder how they make it, because they are very good ones with the water and with some other kind of stuff. Of course, when
So
they
you
travel.
think so you think they have knowledge, even advanced knowledge into computer stuff to create all their stuff? That's what you're saying?
They use a lot of things. When you see the astronaut travel along the ESS, they can use cables like in the movies. When you have live footage, when they answer question from Earth, they are on cables. When they go out to make spacewalk, they film underwater. But there is some situations when they play with water or play with some kind of toy that you see, and when you see it,
Yeah, you see water flying and then they drink it as if like they're drinking it. That
yeah,
could all be photoshopped.
yeah, but it's okay. I just leave this
Yeah, let's leave this alone.
for who are interested. There is a method with called Hutchinson technique. So whatever who wants to research about this, maybe they get some conclusions about how because they have US patent for levitation, okay? Not for anti-gravity things, but they have from levitations. So the levitation exists. The anti-gravity,
But they
no.
made sure they patent it also, so no one get access to their technology too fast.
Yeah, they have a lot of research to you have, for example, things like acoustic levitation. This is how they made the maybe the pyramids or things like that. It's all sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound
Imagine.
system.
So imagine this is in a museum. So what kind of technology NASA can have? Okay, so that is not more.
Exact. What kind of technology do they have on their hand
But they have a lot of technology. But when you say, "Hey, show me a real star," okay, and they appear with these like Santa Claus stars. There is no real stars. They hiding us everything, because the Google search motor engine, when you say real star, they show this.
Oh my.
Okay, so in fact, when you go to Atacama telescope, they say, okay, we found a star from, but they never is going to show a real star, because when they show a real star from a telescope, you're gonna see that everything is vibration.
Yeah.
The first time I saw a real star is when I took my camera and I zoomed at it, because before that I never thought they would. Like I said to Mar, you don't think they would be lying on everything, but once you come into that flat earth thing, you realize you've been lied to about everything, even the stars, everything around you. They manipulate the reality so to their advantage. They inverted everything, even the pictures they show us of everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if your camera can see this thing, how it's possible that this go a billion of years of kilometers? It's impossible. So the telescope just work in the mind. It's just that. In the real world, in the physical world, there are lenses that reach with the distance that the things are up there, a few kilometers, a few hundred of kilometers, maybe thousand, but no more than that. That is, for me, is totally like that. So they control of the religion things, all the educational things. So it's the UNESCO is going to tell us that that kind of things are billion of kilometers away, or the world is around, or things like that. So when the people say how they do it like this. They are a few families that control the financial group. They have their own research institutions. They have the secret societies. So you always, you know, when you need to blame someone, you're going to blame the secret societies. And
follow the money. Follow the money.
It's follow the money, exactly. So now, for our age, for the new age, they create a new layer in between the secret societies and this. And this new layer is exactly this layer. For me, this is my interpretation. Okay, I don't think they create these layers.
What is this layer?
The reptilian layer.
Oh,
So
they create that.
Yes, it's no more the secret society, because the secret society it's really you know guiding by reptilian force, but you're never gonna see the reptilian, okay, because they are in another dimension. So what they are doing, it's just covering themselves. But the problem is, a few years ago, the people can found the secret societies, and if I can found the secret societies, I can found real people behind the real societies. And if I can the real people, if I can found the real people, I can take by the neck and put it away. Okay.
You know, you have ball at the top, BAAL, and I just did a lot of research that they're building a huge ball monument in New York, and they have it designed for every single state coming up this year.
Yeah, and we are going to talk about this.
Isn't there a city in Switzerland also named Val or something like that?
Yes, and in Spain you have, for example, Valencia.
Exactly, it's all over the ball thing.
No,
the ball.
That's right.
The ball.
And I'm going to, if we have a time, I'm going to.
Hey guys, I wanted to bring Jennifer, and Jennifer, I know you came kind of late, and it's probably you're lost in this information right now. Do you have any concern or questions? Do you want to put forward now? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can you hear her?
No.
No.
We can't hear you.
Maybe you have silenced the mic.
Unsilence the mic, and I just wanted to bring Jennifer in.
Oh, okay. Your mic is silenced.
Okay, so we have only half an hour left. If we want for it to be a 2-hour show, and I need to leave in half an hour, so we need to go through this a little bit faster.
Okay, let's go. So I mean, okay, you have this all kind of layers. So the reptilian layer, for me, the reptilian layer is a layer. That is why I talk about, one thing is the energy and the spirit, or whatever you want to call it, and other thing is the biological vehicle. Okay, so this kind of history about the reptilian maybe is a distraction, because all these institutions and all these families are real. You know, we can found it, and we can hunter in some manner. Okay, so they are constructing all the time distractions, and now they put the big one distraction, because if they talk about reptilians from another dimension, how you're going go to take it? You can, because they put in the people's mind that this kind of beings are in other dimensions, so you can found it to hunt them.
Yeah, and also that's why Pope is getting ready for the big disclosure, and the disclosure is going to be for the aliens finally coming to the Earth, and the government is going to show it. It's all a distraction. So
Yeah, okay, so that is a point of view for my interpretation of the things. Then of course you have the language thing, okay, where everything is connected to Baal. Okay, we have, you know, a lot of people talk about the Greek language. This is Greek and Latin, okay, and this is Hebrew, right? And all the people is like, no, because in Greek the word planet means something, or in Greek, but before Greek we have like 7 language before Greek. So this kind of language are hidden. In fact, when you talk about, for example, when you talk about you are an academic person, is because you are referred to this period of time, to the Akkadian period of time, because in that time when you want to have some kind of knowledge, you need to go with them. Okay, in the Middle Age, when you want to learn something about the universe, you need to go to the Jesuit orders to learn, and you need to slave your life to get that kind of knowledge. In fact,
This is big what you're saying here now.
And
that's why they created all these universities, and they're also
this is big.
that's another thing. The universe, a plaintruth.org, he made a new video that says, remember, universe is only one verse. There's only one verse, and so they have called all these universities because in that they're going to indoctrinate humanity into this bullshit.
I never saw the word university this way.
In fact, my
great. I'm learning a lot today.
Perfect, because I, for example, in my YouTube channel, I call multiverse. Universe, because there is a lot of dimensions. So why one only? Okay, so in fact, in our time, the same people, for example, you have the UCLA. UCLA is the Catholic universities, okay? But when you go to learn in the UCLA, in the universities of the Jesuit people, they teach something like biology, and also they teach religion. So they say, okay, no, we come from the monkey, but at the same time, the same people telling you, no, you come from the God. So you leave money wherever you want to go, you leave money to them. And if you leave the money, that money is used to Instituto Tavistock, to UNESCO, and then everything start again. So that is how they control us. But turning back to this kind of ritual, we have everything that you know, everything goes also with this to the same entity, which is Baal. Baal is not just a Baal. Baal is, of course, known as Set. There is where the number 7 come from. Set, 7, Saturn. Okay, because that is something that you must have totally in mind when you said Baal. When you said Baal,
7 astronauts also.
Exactly. When you talk about Baal, you talk the same. Like when you say Elohim's El, it's the same to say Set. It's the same. For example, Baltasar, like the 3 kings, magic kings, is the same to talk about Hannibal. It's the same for Beelzebub, for Moloch, for Allah.
Hannibal, hold on, go back to that. Hannibal.
No,
Yeah,
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Why is because I heard of a movie Hannibal, the guy,
Yes.
the cannibal, Hannibal Lecter, played by I don't know what's his name.
No,
But when I was distracted, I used to watch movies and Hannibal.
yeah, Hannibal make with I can remember the actor, but what what Hannibal do in the movie? Eat the brains.
Yeah.
So that is a message. Hannibal, Baal, eat your brain.
Yeah, the brain is taken.
Exactly.
Humanity cannot think for itself anymore. That's the slavery in action.
Exactly. So you talk about Baal, you're talking about Seth, it's the same to say Hannibal, it's the same to say Allah, it's the same even in the Wikipedia right now. If you go into Wikipedia, you can see the same thing because all these are taken from it's screen capture taken from Wikipedia. In fact, this is a statue of Baal, but here Baal is like a human. So maybe all these kind of image are just for scaring people. You know, the reptilian, the
I think so.
bones. It's like the here in Argentina we call the cuco. You know, when you are young, when you are a child, you say if you don't make the things, it's gonna come the cuco and take you.
And
So
and
that
the
that
word
yeah.
and one of the worst places in the world where you will find all those reptilians is in the city of Babylon. Is the city of London. There's all kinds of reptilians all over, and it's weird. It's one of the three pillars of their madness.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that is where I all the time I put on the table. One thing is the energy, another is the shape. Okay, maybe the shape is in a distraction, and what it's really is the energy that have this kind of president or the Jesuit is the body is the same, but it's what is inside there. I have astral experience. Okay, I all the time I a huge fan, and I recommend for everyone. I use this kind which are in this page. I don't know if you know it. It's called out of body experience for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you can test if there is energy out there or not. That is a reality. Okay, so who wants to test it, you can test it very quickly.
Yeah.
So after all that kind of knowledge, you what the system are telling us, and of course this is the parliament, the European Parliament, that had the same shape of Babylon.
Yeah.
Okay, and Babylon is the history when God introduced the language to confuse the humans. Okay, so after all this, what the system are telling us, that we live inside a Baal. That is why they use a ball.
Ball hurt. And,
Okay, because with this shape, it's exactly, it's like we put it inside here. Okay, it's like if this sorry, it's another icon.
Yeah, it's
Say
another
Baal.
icon of control.
Exactly. This ball is the same of this Taurus, is the same of this disc, is the same of this puppet
yeah.
guy, is the same. The fact is the time has passed. We have another kind of imagination, so they come with this new icon. But it's the same.
I just wanted to say people like David Icke, who is very, very famous, and he's
Yeah,
talking about the reptilians all this time, like, and
yeah,
so many people believe his work, even though no one has ever seen a reptilian. Um,
exactly.
you know, he's probably an agent too, because he
Maybe.
refuses to talk about flat Earth, but he has gone deep into how all these bloodlines are reptilians and whatever. It's a distraction, yes.
He has talked about it, but he has made one video about it, David Icke, about the flat Earth, but very, very subtle. Like he's just going, floating around it, and not really
He doesn't
diving.
even talk about it, nothing at all. Like as detailed as he goes into the reptilian, that's why a lot of people say, you know, I mean, you never know who is an agent.
Yeah, but with this kind of perspective, you can detect a lot of things. So
Do they really need agent? I think we're making up stuff by ourselves and believing it anyway. Do they really
of
need a
course,
bunch of agent in there? I don't think so. I think we're just making up stuff ourselves and believing it.
yeah, that is another possibility. Of course, they introduce, they put in the mass media all this kind of concept. They take, that is why I show this picture, because in the in the Blue Beam project, the first step is that it's gonna be an earthquake that make appear from the ground all antiques histories. Okay, that is the first step from the Blue Beam. And suddenly, you know, this guy Zacharias Sitchin, like everybody knows that this is Mason, because there are a lot of videos showing him inside of some logias. So this guy comes from all the reptilian concept like we know today. I'm not talking about the same concept of reptilian like the Bible talks or the Torah talks. I mean this history when the reptilian come from Orion or from here or from the other places, is this guy who introduced in the culture, in our culture. Okay, so it's like you say, maybe David Icke could be believe this guy, and well, he go out there talking about the reptilian shape and the Queen of England that can convert in the reptilian, you know, all these kind of things.
Yeah, well, and with the same like Michio Kaku, he is so famous in the United States. He's like this Japanese science
Yes,
head,
yes,
and he comes even on the most progressive radio shows in Bay Area, and he bends the mind of people about this supernovas and all these black holes, and he's on the most progressive shows. It's like, what are we dealing with? These are for sure agents. But if
yeah.
we don't know that the astronauts were agents, I mean, there is not going to be any way for us to know that there are so many other agents bending our truth, including in all of the TV and the news media.
But agents were so programmed deeply more at one point. That's why I wonder if there's that many agents around, because the conditioning were conditioned from birth. I woke up at 41 years old myself, and I was aware, like I wasn't a policeman, I wasn't in a public function. I never been a politician or never been in contact with people of really doing all these things. But once I woke up, it doesn't take long to see it. So the programming goes so deep that I don't.
Yeah, it's very deep. It's very deep. Exactly, exactly. In fact, for example, a lot of people from at least in this part of the world, you know, in the Spanish world, they talk about the that of course this, you know, the flat Earth is a Jesuit thing. You know, of course, the flat Earth right now is a Jesuit thing, and they are telling us in our face, because if we take everybody knows the Steve Jackson cards, okay? So
Yeah.
that could be something that the system put on the table, or maybe not. But the fact is, the card of flat earthers that they say people love, but the flat earthers know something, okay? They have a little here down in the left down corner. They say weird conservative, okay? So
Weird conservative.
weird conservative. So this shape that is like shape, this square shape, is the weird driving by conservative people. Who are the conservative people? The religious people, because the square shape is referred to Saturn, to the cube worship. So this kind of concept are introduced to distract, but the flat earth society controlled by Jesuits.
Yeah.
That is why you can go to this place to learn nothing, because it's like say, okay, I want to learn spirituality, and you go into the Vatican. No, It's impossible.
Because you know, who at the very base also, it's a spiritual thing, the flat earth, more than something physical, tangible, that yeah, you can go outside and really feel, you don't move and all that, but I think it's more a spiritual awakening that you gotta have. And that's what they want to prevent. They don't want you to start. They don't want us, all of us, to start living our dreams. Whoa. That now the world would change if we all speak our mind. And so they still have to keep us in low consciousness. And I think that's what this society is there for. And a lot of other people too are there to keep us in low consciousness, to never realize our true potential, our true power, how powerful we are, and everything that comes with our brain is.
Just imagine the whole earth of people that are living in their powers, and they know that they're God representative, and they're here for raising up consciousness and creating good. I mean, if we could have a world like that, we wouldn't need these parasites creating such a system of illusion for us.
Exactly.
Yeah, in fact, I don't know how you can find it in English, but you know, the Jesuit has a book called the Monitor, the Secret Monitor. Okay, Monitor. I'm gonna show just the cover to see that exists. This book of the Jesuit order, the first law inside of this book, it's say, take of all spirit of the humans.
Yeah.
That is the first law of this book. But from the Israel side, you have another book that it's called the hidden treat. I don't know how is the name exactly in English.
The hidden treat.
I think you can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can find. And in this book, they say that we're going to create so big illusion that escape to the perception. And you talk about perception, you doesn't talk about it's something that you can see or you can smell or you can hear. Perception involves everything, every sense inside of our biological body.
Yeah,
so,
because our mind controls everything. So when we think about something, we make it real, and this has become real for us.
Exactly. So if you make, a union of this concept, you have the Jesuit that wants to take all the spirit, but to take all the spirit, you need to empty those spirit, and for empty those spirits, you create a huge perception that escape, that it's the round world.
A huge perception that is a deception. Deception.
Exactly. So you insert in the people's mind that you come from the space, from the Big Bang, and you come from a monkey. That is something that escape of any perception of any person, because the person doesn't feel that is spinning. The person doesn't feel that is, the head down here in the south. It's escape all that perceptions, and even those people believe in the science, but their own body are telling you don't feel nothing. So this matrix, it's the spherical world. They create this kind of matrix to take out our perception, and then they take us our spirit.
Well, that's what Satan is. This connection from the truth, and what is the truth? The truth is the consciousness of the universe is within all of us. The consciousness is us, and we just have forgotten who we are. So here we are in the hell zone, where was supposed to be heaven has become hell.
Yeah, you think you're in the heaven, but you're living in hell. Again, Bob.
Exactly. In fact, with the Steve Jackson cars, you can see something like, of course, we have the okay, that it's called, okay, the space, it's all made in the, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers said. It's maybe the space can be the final frontier, but it's made in the Hollywood basement.
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
But when you talk about, you know, moon bases and that kind of things, they also are,
What did you say?
you know, because a lot of people talk about the moon, and when you talk about the moon, you say no, because the moon has some bases from aliens in the other side of the moon,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that kind of history. And that kind of history, for example, in the cars of Steve Jackson, he tell us to, that is space science computer. You know, directly, because from NASA about a television set, okay? A
Yeah,
television
of
set.
course.
But they talk us about computer imagery.
Well,
You know?
that's so amazing because so many people that don't would not even look at the flat Earth concept. They say, "Oh yeah, they have all this space. They're invading this space, and they have all these stations on the moon." Even though they have never seen such a thing, they
Of
believe
course.
in that, but
Of
they would
course.
not look at any of the facts on this side at all.
Of
Some
course.
some people back then believe people landed on the moon because they heard it on the radio. Hello?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, when the Steve Jackson cards, you know, you have this kind of cards that you believe, maybe when some people say that kind of thing, they say, okay, but this is a joke. No, the joke. Joke.
The joke
Because
is that, yes.
that card is real. It's based on reality.
Yeah.
There is not a joke. It's reality. These guys are making nothing. They are making nothing. It's all are actors.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
they
hold
they
on. So you're
probably
telling
don't know.
me, I had family working in a space agency here in Laval and the building satellites and that. Now, what those people that are working for those companies, because he didn't seem to be aware of what I was talking about when I asked him where was the satellite and all that. He was like offended. He's like, they're in space, blah, blah, blah. I said, no,
They
they're not. I
probably
said,
don't
so
know. The
that's
workers
it.
don't know.
The actors don't know. The actors don't know that much, I think.
No, I say the workers don't
Yeah.
know. The
But the
top
actors
level
worker,
know. The top level know.
they're actors too.
Exactly. Here in Argentina, we make up 2 satellites in this time. These guys, all the thing that these guys are doing, you know, you can test it on the ground because they are making communication device, and he tested in the ground. But then a company, an agency comes and say, okay, give me the satellite I'm going to put on orbit, and then it's when these actors come from,
Okay.
not in the fabrication process.
Okay.
Okay, maybe in the fabrication process also, I can telling you, but
But the
you
people,
can fool the people. You can fool the people on the ground because
yeah.
these people live their life. They make it everything here. They test it on the ground, and then come the agency to put on the space. And there is where it's come all the, you know, the actoral part of that. In fact,
Yeah.
here maybe I believe you can see it because you are from another country, but here the country Ecuador, you know what is Ecuador?
Yep. The Equator.
Okay. Yeah, Ecuador, which is a third country,
Yes, I know.
so they don't have a lot of money. They release a news that say Ecuador is going to replace the satellites with aerostatics balloons. So there is not so difficult to change from a satellite to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and this is a mass media news. All
Wow.
right, so this is not like a concept to you know, maybe we are going to replace that kind of things. Okay,
No, it went mainstream. That's what you're saying. They're saying it to the population. They're gonna use those balloons instead of satellite.
exactly. So and you can hear, you can see it here. In fact, Google right now, Google, he buy a company of aerostatic balloons, Google, which suppose he have a lot of satellites out there. So there is no satellite, and they have been used a lot of you know, it's all a lie. That's no doubt about it. But if you want to another show, or maybe if you want to keep going, I can talk about all this Baal codification inside all the people that bring us the concept of a spherical world, because they are all unite with Egyptians.
I think we're gonna have to do another show, a continue part of Eru part 2.
Yeah.
Well,
no
or
problem.
else just show us like 2 minutes of all the balls.
Oh, okay. No, I mean,
Just fast, like fast.
okay. When you start to get deep in the occult side of all this concept of a global Earth, you start to find things like, for example, the first man who measured the Earth radio, okay, and look this word, the Eratosthenes, okay, he measured the radio, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk about the here, for you is ratio, okay, but for us is radio. And if we take in the mind the concept of the language manipulation, okay, the language manipulation, the Greek, the Latin, then because from Latin then come the English and the Spanish, okay, but everything comes from Latin to this part of the time, right? So when you take into account this kind of concept, when you have the word radio, you have for one side, you have Ra, God of sun, and for the other place, you have Dio, which is God in Italian.
That's right.
So when you measure the radio, you just say God is, sun is God, right? So then you have the first something that is going strange here. But also you have things like, for example, Eratosthenes. Eratosthenes, it's era of thought, or era. And if you go into, right, so when you go into that kind of mythology, sorry, you're going to find things like, who is Athos? Athos come from atom. That is where the word Newton. When you talk about Newton, you talk about the new atom, the new sun.
Yeah.
So this guy,
knowledge of enslavement of humanity.
yeah. In fact, that is what I talking. I tell you that it's better to make in the second part, because here is when everything starts to get really deep in the occult side. Okay.
No, we'll talk to each other, and we'll plan another show this week whenever you're available.
I am, whatever you want.
Eru, I have a suggestion. You make a whole slideshow so we can go through it fast, not to just stay on one thing and keep talking about it. Make a whole slideshow of all these concepts so we can go through it very fast and cover a lot of ground from this point on that you want to share. How about that?
From where you are now, nice slideshow that you can just go through, and we ask you questions at the same time. And,
okay. But I'm going to try to translate, because I do this presentation with Lucas and another guy in Spanish language, so I have everything wrote in Spanish, but I'm going to try to translate, because a lot of these things are taken directly from Wikipedia, so I can take it in English, so you can also participate in what.
But you see, that would be a very important mission right now, Eru, because you have it all in Spanish, and we need to document all of this slideshow in English or if you could just show your Spanish presentation and go through it fast.
Okay, and I made what I call the biocodification of all this, because we have, for example, Thor. Thor, you know, Eratosthenes, the era of thought of Thor, and you can start to have Thor. I need time, but you can see how they use in the missiles that they launch in the Dominique operation. And Dominique, it's for example, just for you know, talk about one example. You know the Dominique operation?
It's dominance.
Yes, it's dominance, but also in Latin, Dominic mean Lord, mean sir. Okay, means like when you say you are my Lord, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In fact, they make the first missile launch to the dome was the Dominic operation. They send 30 missiles directly to atmosphere to see what's going on up there. Okay,
God,
but
what a pollution! What a facade. Okay.
But before they do, for example, the Dominic operation, before the Dominic operation, they use the previous test series was the Sunbeam. Again, invoke the sun worship. And after they send these missiles, they know, they say, okay, nobody can go out there. So the next test series after Dominic, the name was Fishbowl, because they have that knowledge from the Dominic operation. So before the Dominic operation was Sunbeam, then come the Lord operation, the Lord of the heavens, and after they reach that nobody get out there, they call the Fishbowl operation. Okay, and that is.
Well, I will look forward to your slideshow when you make that. And it seems that every single mission that NASA has had is based on a very, very specific Egyptian god or whatever, for a very specific. And even also the ones to Antarctic, all the things that they had to Antarctic was to find the edge or what the ice wall is. It's like everything is coded.
Iru, I would like to talk more about Antarctica and ARP also, because I believe there could be using ARP to warm up Antarctica and to do stuff down there. I don't know if I'm right about that, if you have any clue on this.
Yeah, no problem.
So we'll touch that next show too, Antarctica, and there's a lot of stuff that we have to, so much stuff, and then so much, but it's all in plain sight. It's all in plain sight. We just have to talk to each other and come together, and we're gonna make it work.
In fact, of course. In fact, for example, just for a brief comment about Antarctica, those names, Antarctica and Arctic, it's come from Articos, that mean bear. What bear is the same to talk about Thor, and you can see in the Middle Age art, for example. So everything you are talking the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing. You are talking about, for example, the North Pole means light for Thor. Literally, in Sumerian language, when you say North Pole, you are saying light for the god Thor. So everything is Egyptian. Everything is Egyptian. It's not casualty. You can, for example, when you talk about Antarctic, you're talking about the word An, which means sky. There is where the word Anunnakis, you know. So An is okay. So An is sky. Tar, it means Thor, which is mean Baal. T in Egyptian, T it's life. Okay, and the word ko, it's food for the mind. That is where the company, you know, comes from. So when you talk about Antarctic, you are talking about the Baal, the food to the life of Baal in the sky.
Oh my.
And I
It's
tried.
so deep. I still can't get it how organized they have planned it. I mean, how could this be? How could this be?
How this could be, because they have 8,000 years, 10,000 years making the language. They start with
Yeah.
Sumerian, then we start
I
to
know.
Akkadian, Babylonian,
I
and
know, but what a focus! What a focus! And where is our
But with the
focus?
focus, or are we unfocused? I think we're more
yes,
unfocused than they are
yeah,
focused.
yes,
Well,
Because
that's the whole.
once we start focusing on the reality, we awake the 100 monkey effect. It's not gonna take long. I awake, you awake, everybody awake. So I don't think it's.
Lovey,
I think we are unfocused.
well, it's like yin and yang. It's the same thing. If they're that focused, their only intention to keep us unfocused. So when we
Yeah.
are unfocused, we think we're on a little piece of dirt living in infinite skies,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
unfocused. That we are not focused on Earth. They are focused on Earth because they want world dominance.
But
yeah,
they focus on dominating us too mentally and enslaving us in the mind. That they're very focused on that, but we're also unfocused on our reality and our oneness. We're mostly unfocused on the oneness because once you start realizing that we are one,
Yeah.
everything becomes very clear.
yeah, and that is what we must be carefully, because it could be a new reset.
Yeah, the
Okay.
new reset of humanity.
In fact, for example, you have things like when you talking about the nucleus, okay? But
Yeah.
the word nucleo, it has the word Leo inside. And which is Leo? Leo come from lion. And where
Yes.
are the lions? In the Sumerian and Egyptians culture. So when you talk about the nucleus, you're talking about the giving light to the lion. Light to lion. That is where the word nucleus come from. So everything you talk, the Van Halen belt, which is Van Halen belt, is
Van Allen.
Baal Haaland. You know what? We can start to talk a lot of this. In fact, the horizon, but the horizon is had the word hor, which is
Already.
Baal to Zion.
Oh, it's a whore to Zion. Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, I had like 60 or 70 slideshow. So I'm going to try to translate, and then I'm going to give to you all these Photoshop file, so
Yeah.
you
So
can.
we can go through it in 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So we give you all the power you need, Iru, to go do that, because you're doing that for us, for humanity, for the future generations. This is the real education.
You are a great light worker for sure.
Okay, okay. So I can Carl Sagan, Nagas,
Nagas.
Nagas, Nagas. And what is Nagas? Nagas, it means serpent in Hebrew directly. So Carl Sagan is Charles the Serpent.
Oh my.
When you talk about Carl Sagan, for example.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
This is a Nagas.
let's talk about all of this next time, so you can take us through the whole
Yeah.
the whole show. And I'm so
Okay.
sorry that we also missed
No
Jennifer.
problem.
We missed Jennifer. She left, but lots of light to her, because I think in the middle of this was too dense.
Yeah,
No, but it's a
yeah.
lot of information too. No? It's
Yeah, but I think maybe for this first part, it's a nice introduction
That's
to
right.
what we're going to put, because
we
when we
just
talk,
lay down the table for more and more of you coming and exposing his stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
yeah,
Okay.
because you can you can take the flat Earth by calculations, but this is end really soon. You make two, you put on the table the calculation, and
Yeah.
at the you reach the result of the flatness really quickly. Then you can go by observation. You can see the high altitude camps, and you're gonna see the flat horizon. But
Okay,
there is,
if you make this, in English, then we can also translate it to other languages. It would be
okay,
really awesome.
okay, really good, really good.
Yeah.
So I wait for the next invitation. Give me
Yeah,
we
I'll
have to
contact you. I'll contact you in private, today or tomorrow morning, something like that. But
Yeah.
we're gonna plan another one for sure. We'll talk together.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much for showing up.
okay, thank you to both of you to invite me again. It's a
Oh,
pleasure.
it's
Yeah, we love you.
pleasure is ours.
Thank you, Ian.
Okay. Thank you so much.
See you next time.
See you.
We're out.